Every time that I've spent time with you, I've enjoyed it, and it keeps happening more and more. And I think people should know your story.
I love it, James. Thanks. An honor to be here.
Yeah.
The feeling's mutual. Love getting to know you and what you're building and creating as well.
Yeah. Let's give an introduction on who you are so people can get to know you, and then we can go backwards to what I'd call some of the fun stuff from here. But right now, if someone were to define you right now and who you are, what would your response be?
Yeah, I think there's two parts to that question. If it's how do I define myself, there's one answer, and then I think there's what others would define me as. I think for myself, I'm looking to identify and cultivate my calling in life. I think that's what's driving me right now. That's my vision. That's what I'm looking for personally, to find that personal fulfillment in what I'm doing. I think when others see me of what they've seen historically in the pattern is someone that loves to find problems and not just solve them, but solve them in scale. And that's kind of been my MO for most of my life, is finding opportunities and scaling them as big as I possibly can think of in that moment. And as I've got older, it seems to keep getting bigger and bigger. There's just more possibilities.
Yeah. So let's give people a peek into what your day looks like right now.
Yeah.
You're a founder of a company. It's relatively new, although it doesn't seem so. 2019?
Yeah,
2018 range. And you provide a unique service to a lot of business owners.
Yeah, Nimble is the name, Nimbl. We are an outsourced accounting department for small businesses. And so I have a business partner, Dave Olson, and yeah, there's a lot we could stay into about the history of the company, but really we both grew up in entrepreneurial families. And, in the 1980s, 90s, early 2000s, there just weren't a lot of fractional services that were great and could add expertise. And so Nimble really comes to meet businesses where they are, exactly where they are. They only pay and get and use the services they need. So if you have a tech startup that's, fundraising and doing a lot of great things, we can come in and meet you where you are, take care of your accounting, taxes, FP&A, financial planning analysis, forecasting, CFO work. Most recently added things like cybersecurity, tech, device management, and then even global team staffing. So the idea is really to meet and let these small businesses thrive by only allowing them to get the expertise they need, but also at an affordable price.
Yeah. I think more often than not, if someone were to ask me, who is the first hire you make in a new company?
And as if they're a first-time founder or second-time founder.
No, okay. Yeah, I think that it could go. And it's like, well, you need to hire more sales, or you need to hire somebody that can handle the clerical work so you can go sell more. Man, the more I look at it, it's like, you need to hire a numbers person.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to call that. I mean, it's young. It's like, well, they get intimidated by like a CFO. I can't afford a CFO. Or someone that's worth their weight in gold or has experience. And I love that I feel that your company has bridged that gap from the intimidation of like, I know I should have somebody on my team that can manage the books appropriately or guide me down how to most efficiently monetize this opportunity without it being like, geez, I just can't afford that person. And I think that you've created that solution.
Yeah. What typically happens is someone hires like a CFO, someone that, worth their weight in gold, and 90% of their time is spent doing administrative tasks or accountant level tasks. But you're paying them the big bucks. The other side of the story is they're hiring a bookkeeper, and literally they don't know a lot about what they're doing, and all the complex stuff they are just trying to figure it out as they go. And it's at the end is costing the company opportunity, money, leverage, decision making, the whole 9 yards. And so our whole approach is come in, meet you exactly where you are. You may just need some part of a bookkeeper, some part of a controller, some part of a FP&A analysis, some part of a CFO. You may have remote employees, need cybersecurity and device management. And we just come in and give you that little bits and pieces where you are. But the beauty is then we scale and grow with you. And so we've taken companies that were pre-revenue and taken them public, or over 150 million of revenue. And it's just fun to be a part of them in that journey, and super fulfilling for us. Like our goal is to be a vendor that they use, but not just a vendor, but a partner. It's someone that they don't believe they could run their business without Nimble and the people and the processes that we have behind it.
Ideal client size is roughly...
Yeah, ideally 1 to 10 million is like the sweet spot. We can bring you on, get you onboarded very quickly at revenue. Yes. 1 to 25 million is where most of our clients fit. So we usually grow with you. Obviously, we have many clients that are above that. But yeah, that's our sweet spot. We can just hit it out of the park with you. If you're fundraising, tech, all of that, like, we love it.
Where was it born? I know enough about you, and we'll get into what you were doing prior to, founding the company. Like, where did it come from?
Yeah, Nimble. So I have a business partner, Dave Olson, and he had a year head start on this than even I did. So I joined him after he kind of started things the first year. And for him, he was a fractional CFO. But the challenge with fractional CFOs is they can grow $1 to $2 million book of business, kind of manage it with 1 or 2 employees, but they cap out. And then their clients feel it, they feel it, quality of life isn't there. And so really the approach was, when I joined, was, hey, let's give this a name, something that's not Rowley or Olson. Let's give them a brand where they can have an experience around this brand that is actually then scalable. Because scaling service organizations is hard. It's one of the hardest things I've learned in this, is it's not just creating a software and deploying a sales team. I'm not saying that's how it's that easy either in a tech world, but we have an experience that we have to scale. And so that was really the beginning of it. Was, I was tapped out, he was tapped out. How do we build this brand? How do we build this experience? And then we knew leadership was going to be a big part of it. And so building a culture of leadership, of core virtues, as we call them in our business, and cascading that down through the team and through our leaders, and hiring intentionally to bring that about.
Knowing what I know of Dave just gives this impression of just, I don't know, just one, he looks like Clark Kent, but he just feels like he's just steady Eddie.
Yeah.
And then you talk to you and you hear a little bit about where you came from. How did that marriage take place? Like, how did it work? Like, is it yin and yang? Where did you guys get connected, and how did it make sense to form a partnership, especially after he'd kind of got that year head start?
Yeah. So he was a CFO for a venture capital group, and I was recruited to be the CEO of a company in that portfolio company of that venture capital group. And before that took place, serendipitously, we got connected for a lunch of how to run some ops for an e-commerce business that he was the CFO for. And we ended up going to lunch. I think we talked for about 2.5 hours, and we both wrote emails to each other that night. And just like, it was like bro love. Like, just said, hey, it was awesome to get to know you. I truly hope our paths cross and we're able to work together one day. And that was only like a month later, I got a call from his venture capital group outside of Dave, he didn't know, to ask to interview for the CEO role. Got the job. We ended up working together for 3 years. And I think for us is at the end of that venture, like, we both saw in each other the things that we were desiring for ourselves. For me, like, I saw this steady engine that you're talking about, but like a visionary, someone that was just constantly thinking about better ways to run things, processes, and putting them in place. And I think for him, I don't want to speak too much for him, but like, he saw a sales guy, someone that like executes, takes the decisions, takes the information we have, makes a decision, and go. And so it's just been really fun for the two of us to just think through things. He usually spends more time thinking through a lot of the foundational structure challenges that we will face. But then I love to go execute and make it rain. That's always a fun part too.
Yeah. Listen, I don't want to give people any sort of like a more of a cliffhanger, but I want to go back to the roots of where you're saying, you said a couple things.
Yeah.
When I see an opportunity, I want to see how I can scale it, and not like a 1x or a 10x. Like, is this possible to 100x? And how your mind works a certain way to go and do that. I mean, did you get distracted in school at a young age? Were you like a young little hustler in the neighborhood hawking candy bars around? Like, where did this come from? And we'll dive into a couple of experiences where you figured out you're decent at it.
Yeah, what's funny is I grew up in an entrepreneurial family, and conversations around the dinner table were about business. We talked openly about debt and equity and interest and loans and even margins. And so yeah, always had an interest in business. What's interesting is I knew I wanted to do it. I knew I wanted to start something new. I left the family business, but I just wasn't exactly sure like what it was. And I think Shark Tank actually ruined me, because I thought I had to invent something, and then I had to like go be an e-commerce business, because that's what most of their products are, e-commerce.
Yeah.
And I don't have any part of engineering in me whatsoever. And so I was just like doing things that naturally took place, but I never thought I had a business. I never thought I was actually doing something of value. I thought I was just kind of like cheating the system in a little bit of a way. But as I got older, I realized, and as I started to scale, like, hey, there's actually real opportunity in some of these side hustles, and people make careers out of them. It wasn't the career I wanted, but it just got passion in me of saying, hey, what if I could take all of these things that I have been doing and put it in a real business? And it's been fun to do that at Nimble.
Let me just like rattle off a couple things that I know about you. Besides getting issued a black card, which is one of my favorite stories that you have, or spending a few days on the island with, why did my mind just go blank?
Sir Richard Branson.
I was going to say Russell, but you have a black card, and how you got that was a fun story. To go and spending a few days with your wife, with Richard Branson on his island, and playing tennis and chess and all those things, to having pallets of precious metals delivered to your house, and maybe my personal favorite of having over 3,000 credit cards at one point in your life. I know that when you talk about it, it's easy to make light of it. And there's walking a fine line of getting creative, and, how would I be viewed if someone knew that I had worked a system, so to speak, and, going on the sort of like, well, there was a loophole. I found it and I used it to my advantage, but I played within the rules.
Yeah.
And it's such a unique way that your mind works. Can you share maybe one of your favorite stories around what I'd call a side hustle growing up before you started some of this?
Before I started some of the side hustles, or just of the side hustles?
No, I love Nimble. I've used your services. I continue to use your services. I would call it this, like this, what is becoming like a part of like an end result. I wouldn't use that to cap you in any way.
Yeah.
But it seems, and I don't want to use the term grown up, Shane, either. But like Nimble is this great, I'm excited to see where you take it. But man, you seemed like a cowboy before. Like just so resourceful, and you have these fun stories, and they just seem so outlandish. But I think it's so much of what makes what you're building today special around this creativity. And there's so many parallels that come in entrepreneurship around problem solving, or finding a more efficient way to do it, or finding a creative way to get to an end. And I think that's why I laugh so much when you tell some of these stories. Like, oh my gosh, there's no way that's true, that actually happened. You told a story about one of your friends that you kind of I'll call it got rowdy with. I don't know. I don't even know if that's the right term. But today, had Costco curate a Brinks trucks to his home, and I won't go into too much of it because it's going live right now and going on right now, and I don't know if they would appreciate us talking about it. But you just hear that, like, why would Costco send a Brinks truck to someone's personal residence? And it's like, well, yeah, there's a backstory to that. And then when I hear, all right, two truths and a lie, I think you would absolutely be the best person I know at winning the two truths and a lie game. I bought $10 million of gold off of eBay on credit cards. I mean, we could go on. I would let you do that portion.
We're happy to talk about any of those, whatever you want me to go into, or where it started, or.
Yeah, I listen. One of the truths is that you had 3,000 credit cards in your personal name.
Yeah. My wife and I. But yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. You split it in half, maybe.
Split in half. 3,300.
3,300. Like, please tell that story. Just to give someone a glimpse of how your mind works and the rabbit holes that you've gone in, and the principle of maximizing. Because that's one of my favorite things about you. And you said it like, man, that's just how my mind works. How can I take this opportunity and not 1x it, not 10x it, but 100x it? And is it possible? And then the creativity to go down that rabbit hole to actually make it happen.
Yeah. So like my whole life is all like, I think the way my brain works is I see patterns, and I love to identify patterns. And I think that's feedback for me. It's, whether it's even in a conversation, how I respond to you, how do you react, what's happening? And my brain's constantly processing that information. And so for me, like in business or in monetary purposes, I'm always looking for a pattern. And so, yeah, to get to 3,300 credit cards, there's a lot of small stories that build up to it. But the premise is probably like 2014, American Express introduced something called Small Business Saturday. And so right after Black Friday, Friday, Black Friday, Saturday would be Small Business Saturday. And everyone that had an American Express merchant portal was considered a small business if they were under certain revenue. And they would run a promo where if you went and spent like $25 on your American Express card, they would give you a $25 credit on that credit card. So I look at my sock drawer and shoebox of credit cards, and at the time I had 40, 50, 60. I was in the game for a little bit. I was like, hey, $25 times each of these. And I look online, I'm like, hey, some of my favorite restaurants are here. I went and got restaurant gift cards for birthday gifts. I mean, I had a ton of birthday gift cards, and it was $25 a pop. And I was like, that was really cool. And then I was like, wait, I wonder if they do this again next year. I'm going to be prepared. So then I started discovering well, how do I get more American Express cards? What's the rules? How do I go about this?
Hold on, stop. What did you what's the turnover? What's the benefit of the $25 back? Is that you got a bunch of free gift cards to your favorite restaurants?
Yeah.
So you got date night covered for the year? For
years, yeah.
Oh, for years. Or because you had 25 to 40 credit cards already at that point.
Yeah. Well, that time I was still cheap. Wasn't going out to eat very much. So yeah, I had 40 to 50 $25 gift cards. And it was just something really small. So at the time that felt big. But then I was like, wait, how do I get more gift cards? Well, I started learning American Express started making you add these offers before they would give these to you. But if you added authorized users to your card, then you could add that offer to every single authorized user card. So one day I'm chatting with American Express and I said, hey, how many authorized users can I add? And I was adding, my kids' names or something because they weren't asking for birthdays or anything. And someone finally told me, they're like, well, you could just do these for yourself. You could just put your name on them. And I was like, oh, really? I can have an Shane Rowley, primary user. I can have an authorized user card under Shane Rowley. I'm like, yeah, no problem. Just put your social here and it's great. I was like, well, how many of these can I do? And they're like 99 per card. I was like, can I just tell you I want 99? And she's like, sure. 99 credit cards came under one card and authorized user cards. So like that first
Okay,
batch.
so I'm trying to think, like, we have a house manager right now. Rather than giving her my card or her card, we can add her as the authorized user. They send a third card in the mail.
Yeah.
You did that for yourself, and 99 credit cards came in the mail?
Yeah. So I had 100 credit cards for under one account, essentially. Seems pretty simple. But we were able I was able to make a login for each one of those 99 and manually add an offer for each one of those. So all of a sudden, like a Small Business Saturday comes around again, they're doing $25 on a Saturday. I got 100 of those. It's like, hey, I'm going to have restaurant gift cards for a while. But then I was like, wait, how many credit cards do I have? And I'm like, wait, I got about 40 or 50. And not all of them allowed you to add 99, but most did. So I went into every single card between my wife and I and added 99 authorized users. So at this point, I was hiring like a part-time like contract.
Brand
employee.
specific? Is this Amex?
This was Amex.
Yeah.
So that's how I ended up with 3,300 Amex gift cards. But the nice...
No, not gift cards.
Amex credit cards. But most of them were authorized users in this sense.
What's your credit score like?
Oh, it's perfect.
It wasn't damaged by applying and getting all these new credit cards, and you weren't getting kicked down?
No, because at the time, American Express, they would backdate all cards you had to your first card you ever had with American Express. So my credit report actually showed like 3,000 credit cards open, all to like the time I got my very first credit card. So I had like an awesome length of history, never carry a balance. And so it actually just makes it really robust.
Yeah.
At the time. So end up with 3,000 credit cards, end up hiring a contractor, help do logins for each of those, set them all up, end up having a friend create like a bot that would every night run at 2 a.m. and add all of the offers that American Express would do automatically to every single card. So now
An example of 4 or 5 offers.
Yeah, so the example is like on all the cards, spend $100 at Allen Edmonds, the shoe store, and we will give you 2,000 I think it was like 4,000 membership reward points. Well, 4,000 membership reward points, I can liquidate and value those at about $80, get 2-to-1 ratio. So I could buy a $100 gift card and I could get $80 essentially back. So, but what I could do is I could now go buy those $100 gift cards, but instead I would sell them on gift card reselling sites, and I would sell them for 90 cents on the dollar. So I'd sell them for 90. So I took a $10 loss, but I just got $80 worth of points. So I profited $70. Now you do that times 3,300 and we're talking big numbers. Now, most gift card reselling sites can't take that much Allen Edmonds gift cards at a time. And so I worked with different brokers, gift card reseller brokers, and I would sell below 90 and they were willing to like kind of front the cost. So I get paid up front and then I'd sell for them for like 82 cents on the dollar. And then they would eventually sell them for 90 cents and I'd get paid out immediately. And so, yeah, you can start doing the math. You take 3,000 gift cards, you take a deal where you make maybe $50, $60, $70 per card, but we blew it up bigger. And yeah, so there's lots of those. PF Chang's would do one, buy a $100 gift card, get like $50 back. You could sell those for 90 cents on the dollar on a gift card reselling site. And so there's a lot of people, so a lot of people when they're at PF Chang's, instead of paying their full bill, they'll go online and just buy a gift card for like 10% off. And then they'll pay with that gift card. So I'm just selling gift cards on those sites and just finding ways to liquidate it. Now to do that, to buy 3,000, like I wasn't going to the store with 3,000 credit cards. Like that would take all day and they would be like, no, what are we doing? This is sketch. So I would usually do it online. I learned how to write macros. And I had spreadsheets with everything, all the credit card numbers, pins, everything. So essentially I would get it set up where I would figure out how this website worked and I'd just loop it 3,000 times and just let the laptop sit and wake up and all 3,000 were ordered. the challenge is sometimes they would come in like individual packages, every single gift card. So I would have pallets delivered to my house of like gift cards. So then we're like getting the kids with razor blades, open up 3,000, and our garage turns into a warehouse for a couple days. And then you get all these gift cards, and now you have to get them on their gift card reselling site. So I'm buying like gift card swiping machines. So that would like, I could just swipe them and decode tools to like get the tape off so I could see the 4-digit pin. So yeah, it was a full-time job, and to some extent, like when you're doing this at scale, but one little deal like that could yield tens of thousands of dollars just in a couple days.
And you just, is the term curious? Like, where could this go? Did someone show you a hack and you took it to the next level? Like, where did like, it seems so mind baffling that you would hit go and that 99 credit cards would show up and you're like, that was cool, let's do it again. And you just do it again. You pick your head up and there's over 3,000 credit cards that you have. And like you said, I'd figure out a website and I'd put it on a loop. Like, what does that mean?
What does that mean? I think over time, like you gradually build up that tolerance, and that risk taking. So like, in 2009, my risk tolerance was, maybe a $10,000 exposure at a time. And, after 5, 6, 7, 8 years, it ends up being hundreds of thousands or millions eventually in some deals. But the way my brain always thought was like, I always had a plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D. So it's like, okay, if this doesn't work, this is what I'll do. Or a lot of times before I even ran it, I would negotiate the whole deal beforehand. So like before I go and buy hundreds of thousands of dollars of Allen Edmond gift cards, like I already got my brokers lined up. I know the rate. I told them how much I'm going to sell them, when it will be delivered by. I know when I'm getting money wired. Now, if they don't buy, I got backup buyers. I got different rates that gave me at different levels. And so I just basically always looked at like a plan A, B, C, D, E. Like I was always going through lots of plans. And just finding opportunities. So sadly, that one ended. American Express didn't like that I was adding the offer to 3,000 credit cards every single time. And we did a little cat and mouse game with the bot where they would like change how it would be the interface was. So the bot wouldn't work, but the programmer like would get around it, and took a little bit. And finally that one ended where they made it so per social security number, once you added an offer, it could never be added to another card under that social security number, which made it, that deal kind of died. It was sad.
And do you feel that you were like a major proponent of this, or was there like communities doing the same thing? Like, are you on their Catch Me If You Can, like Hall of Fame, and they were like going to try and beat you, or was this like were there multiple people out there doing this stuff?
Yeah, so like I belong to some communities that would talk about some of these things, just ways, kind of just deals that were there. Some of those communities are about just finding like, hey, slick deals, is a great example. They see price mistakes, for like TVs, and they price them, or good deals. So we have communities that would talk about these things, but like, I don't know anyone that would hit it as hard as I would. To me, it was like, once you solve it once, why not do it 10,000 times? And that's just the way I was wired, and it was fun to do.
You met my buddy today that owns a jewelry company.
Yeah.
And he would say, while they're changing pricing and, their cost, changes, well, as they're updating their site, they'll get people that will buy diamonds.
Oh, yeah.
At ridiculous numbers or zero or whatever, and put the order, and have to like roll their eyes and go and cancel all these orders because someone's just ready to pounce when they feel like a pricing error is ready to go. And I didn't put two and two together, but I should have introduced them and said, hey, I know who's on the other side of this looking for a deal.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of, I don't know the law specifically. I mean, sometimes price mistakes, if you hit those things hard or something, they have a right to cancel those. You see it with airline deals all the time, like $50 flights to Brazil and 100 people buy them, plane sells out, and then they all get canceled. Sometimes they do honor them though. So sometimes it's worth just throwing $50 at it to see what happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, the intent isn't necessarily to do anything wrong. It's just taking the opportunities out there and figuring out how to scale it. So yeah, there's probably 100 stories like that one story. So we go over a few of them if you want.
Well, you got this infamous black card that just, there's songs about and all this kind of stuff, like this black card, this black card, this black card. I would have just assumed, well, yeah, the amount you're spending with Amex, you would have just qualified to get a black card. You have 3,300 cards. You're constantly spending on it. It's all under your account. Like, wouldn't one just show up one day and solve a lot of purchasing problems for you to be able to go under one amount? But that's not how you got it.
Yeah.
You got it because you used a dangling hook over a sales rep with Amex one time.
Yeah, basically, like, I'd like to say I created it. It was a little bit opportunistic, but for a few years I wanted a black card, and not because I wanted the prestige of a black card. I actually didn't care about that. They had a reward structure that was more attractive than any other credit card, and how I could liquidate those points into cash and even redeem them for travel. And so it's, the top best in the world. And so I was gathering all these points and miles, and I wanted to redeem them for a better value. And
all these points, give me a figure.
Like at the time, tens of millions, and then it turned into hundreds of millions
of points.
Travel points. Yeah. So membership reward points with American Express, ultimate reward points with Chase. Yeah.
And so you're flying business class, first class, the best anywhere and everywhere you want.
I don't think I've ever paid for a flight or a hotel really in my life. And so, yeah, flying first class, Etihad Apartments, Emirates first class, Cathay Pacific first class. Not all of these, you're taking showers, they're giving you pajamas, you're sleeping in the bed. Singapore suites, and you book you and your wife together, and they give you like a bed, full-size bed together. Yeah.
I mean, that could cost somebody $70,000 for that trip.
Yeah, a lot of those are $50,000 trips, and like you can book them with 100,000 Alaska miles. And so just knowing like which airline partners partner with who, and knowing how to redeem them, and then even rules around it. So like the flights, like I took Seattle to Dubai as like part one of a flight, but I did a layover in Dubai. So that was the Emirates first class flight. But I did a layover for 7 days. I went and saw Dubai and Abu Dhabi. But then I continued that flight to Beijing. But that was only one ticket. And it was the same amount of points to go to Dubai as it was to Beijing. But I just routed through Dubai with a layover that would cost 7 days, or, for 7 days and then over. And so different airlines have different unique rules. They have different partners. A lot of them have award maps instead of, like Delta. It's just, you see what the price is in points online, and then you see what is in cash, and you have to decide. Well, a lot of them, you can't even see them online. You have to call and book, and they just have an award chart. So it's like you're going from, Western United States to Asia. They'll just say that's 80,000 points in first class. But the flight might have been $20,000. And so you're just getting an incredible return. So yeah, I was traveling a lot. My wife and I loved it. We love seeing the world, love showing our kids the world, seeing different cultures. And so we were going everywhere and doing luxurious, exotic stuff, Bora Bora trips in bungalows, flying first class there, Sydney, Australia, all over Europe, Asia, Middle East.
And I don't want to call it for free because someone had to open those 3,000 individual gift cards and those kind of things, but you weren't paying money for them.
Not at the
You were
time.
exchanging points for the majority of these.
Exchanging points for all of it. Maybe there would be a nominal, like $11.20 fee they would charge me when I booked out. But all flights, all hotels, like my whole life have been covered by points and miles. And there's more to go. So yeah, I was in this game,
And you wanted to get this black card because it would just heighten the rewards.
You got it.
It needed to heighten rewards because
Because more is always better sometimes.
All right. All right.
Speak your language, James. Yeah, like it just, you get addicted to like maximizing every point. Like there's a I don't know a better word to use, like a high from it. You know, I
You
don't,
can get competitive in something.
yeah, I don't
Like,
do drugs. I don't know what a high really feels like, but it like, if I imagine what it feels like, it is when you book like a $20,000 flight for nothing. You're like, this is awesome. Like this could be really fun. So yeah, like there's always this concept of like, how do I maximize and do better? So yeah, I had a sales rep call me once and he wanted to convert and get all the business over to like a corporate program that he would get a commission on. And their corporate program like isn't really great. Like it's better, their small business is better. There's some pros and cons of why some people go that way. But I just said, hey, like I'm willing to give you business, but I need to get a black card. I've been trying and I've been asking American Express for like 3 years. They tell me they'd put me on like a list to consider, but it's kind of like, you know, I don't want to say it's exclusive as like Augusta, you know, in golf terms, but it's one of those, like, if you have to ask, then you're not getting one. It's an invite only card. And that's the way they pitch it. So I was like, look, I know it's invite only, but like, I need you to get me one. And he's like, that's the one thing I can't do for you. I was like, oh, but this isn't going to help me then. So
Must not want my business that bad.
yeah. So 9 months later, I think he calls me back and he just come from a SKO, sales kickoff meeting with all of the American Express reps. And they were doing some type of role play about, you know, limitations they run into in sales. And I became the example where this guy says, hey, like I got a guy that says he would give me all of his business, all of his spending, but he wants a black card. And this VP of American Express said, well, interesting. If you can get him signed on and he'll do $10 million of new spend with American Express, we'll give him a black card.
In what period?
In 6 months. So he calls me and tells me this. And I had no idea like how I was going to spend $2 million in 6 months. But I was like, I'm in. Like, how do we do this? I was like, we'll figure it out. We'll create something.
It's the worst that happens. You don't spend the 10 million and they take it back.
They take it back. Yeah. So I never got anything in writing. So it was a little like nerve wracking. But he's just like, I've talked to him. He says it'll happen. So like, you do the spend. I'm going back to him and we'll get it for you. I was like, all right, like when does this start? He's like, the day we sign up for a new card, that's when it'll start. We got to start. It has to be spent on that card. Because it had to be like new spends. We had to do it under a different business that I had. And so I just started thinking, you know, I'm in a community with some Miles and Points friends. And there was this talk about how eBay was selling gold at 9 a.m. Mountain Time every morning, like a limited supply. And I don't know exactly why, but I think they were trying to boost revenue numbers because they were selling it like at 1% above spot price. And you could buy with a credit card through PayPal on eBay. They were limited to like 10 ounces per store, but they would have like 7 stores that were selling it every day, 7 different bullion dealers. So I ended up having a friend that created a bot that would look at spot price, scrape eBay's website like every 10 seconds on, you know, on the gold channel. And it would kick off the margin and the cost and like had my point value too. So like what I could liquidate points for, what points would I earn in the transaction? What could I liquidate that for? What was the cost of gold? And then like, what's the spot price? And it would tell me my profit, whether or not I'd make money on it or not, and how much money. And I only cared at the time to like break even. I just wanted 10 million spent. So every morning at 9 a.m., like my Slack, it would go through Slack, like it would just blow up. And it was just like programmed so I could just push a button and I had my credit cards loaded already and it would just check out. And so I could get and buy anywhere from 30 to 70 ounces of gold per day.
Which would be?
At the time, gold was running about $2,000 an ounce. So $60,000 to $140,000 of gold per day on a credit card.
Okay, so we're tracking. We're on pace.
So yeah, 100 grand a day. So some days would be bigger. Some the dealers would forget to add limits. So I could order like 100 ounces from them at one go. And really the only challenge I had was like credit line. But American Express, the cards I signed up for were charge cards, which don't have credit lines. But like they kind of do internally. But somehow like at one point, I had over like a $1.2 million balance on one credit card. And like never got a phone call from American Express. Like never asked for financials, never asked about what I was doing. And like this card's only 2 months open. And we're just racking up big balances. But there's a little bit of risk to it. So then I started thinking like, this is a lot of gold. Sometimes it doesn't come to my house for 7 days. Like what if gold drops like a ton? Like I started doing the math and I'm like, this could get ugly fast. So then I started learning about GLD, like as a commodities like stock ticker, which for every ounce of gold I bought, you'd buy an equivalent amount of GLD gold, stock. And so I'd buy put options for about 3 months out. And I would make sure I was perfectly hedged with the amount of gold I bought. So I put that into my calculation. I had to pay a premium to buy these put options. So then I was fully like insured essentially. So the biggest risk I had was when I signed for delivery and it was sitting at my house. If I got robbed, I was in trouble. And so essentially like I would just like, I found a gold. Oh, so that was the other part. Then I had to sell the gold. So I had to call.
You came over in gold bricks to the house?
Yeah, they come in little coins and they come in pamphlets and some comes in tubes, but they're heavy. Like gold's heavy. So I started getting all this gold, but I didn't have anywhere to sell it, but I knew I could sell it somewhere around spot price. So I called all the people in Utah and like the deals weren't great. Ended up finding this store in downtown Manhattan in New York that had incredible rates, would insure packages from my house in FedEx today and would wire me the money the day they got the gold. And so essentially when the gold came to my house, I would call them, lock in the price. Depending on how much gold I bought, I would adjust my put options. Sometimes I could have the same put option roll the gold like 5 times in a 3-month period or 10 times. They kind of cut down on that cost, but that was pretty nominal. Ship the packages, get paid the wire, and then immediately pay off the credit card. And the faster I paid off the credit card, there's something American Express calls a bust out score. It's an internal score. And mine kept raising. And my insider at American Express would tell me like I had a really good score. And so I knew I could continue to charge more and just keep buying more until I was, getting close to a $2 million balance on a single American Express card and just kept leveraging it. And so American Express was essentially fronting the money interest-free for me to buy, ship it, get paid back.
How was it interest-free?
Because I would pay off everything before interest would occur.
Okay.
So a lot of times, like I could have up to like a 55-day interest-free loan, because if I purchased right after the statement date, 30 days later would be the statement date, and then the payment's not due for like another 25 days after that. And so I'd have 55 days essentially to play this game with American Express's money, and I would know nothing out of pocket. But what got scary was you start doing the math on this, and if I'm losing 1% or a little bit over 1% off the spot price off eBay on everything, and I'm buying $10 million of it, I'm eating that cost. And it's all sitting in points. And points that I'm planning to liquidate at a certain redemption value with the black card. And so there's like a little bit of risk, we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars of risk at this point. And so I finally finished the spend, called my American Express sales rep. He couldn't believe it. He's like, I don't know if I want to know what you did, but goes back, got the black card delivered, comes in a massive, fancy big box all over the top, came with like a leather, wrist bracelet that you could use. Came with a wallet, all sorts of fancy things. Gives you the top airline status, hotel status, concierge status, all the benefits, if you want to golf.
As if you needed it.
If you need it. I haven't used it a ton, but yeah, if you want to go to a certain golf course, certain restaurant, you call them, they help you get tickets or inside anything you want. But I was just looking forward to the travel redemption part of it. So yeah, in the course of the next 30 days, was able to liquidate all of those points and end up having a nice profit while doing that as well.
What's a nice profit?
Yeah, like in that, probably profited like 2% overall. So 200,000. Yeah, 200,000 on 10 million.
Yeah.
But there's other benefits as that, like all your points are considered tax free. So points and miles, there's tax court cases on that. And so yeah, you're not reporting any of that. And so yeah, there's just different things. All my put options, gold was going up at the time. So I had like $500,000 of losses in put options because I actually sold my gold for a gain to some extent. And so yeah, you just factor all that into your tax returns and say you got some tax loss harvesting, you got some miles and points that are considered tax free according to the tax court cases, and yeah, and then I ended up with a bunch of other points and miles for travel and other things. So you get a black card at the end of it. I still have it. I love it. Still has the same travel redemption that I love. Essentially, any flight I book for life, I'm getting it essentially, as long as I book with points, I'm getting it for 50% discount. So it's an incredible benefit.
So not only do you have a ridiculous amount of points, you're only having to spend half of them now. Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing.
And so you would just pivot to the next hustle?
Yeah. So that one, something happened where there was with eBay and my PayPal account where I hit a fraud trigger.
Yeah.
There was a day there wasn't a limit on a dealer, and I tried to max it out as much as I could. And so it was like a $300,000 charge. And then the dealer got like mad because he's like, hey, this was supposed to be limited. We messed up. We're going to cancel your order. So they reversed it. And all of a sudden my account got flagged for like a $300,000 reversal. And so, yeah, I could never get back in like that game. And then the game eventually died there. eBay wasn't doing the gold selling. But yeah, there was just always deals. And so some of these, like you start meeting other people, you talk to people about it. Ended up connecting with some guys in Israel that were running a drop shipping site that would scrape Amazon listings, like other people's Amazon listings, post it on eBay. And then people would actually, for whatever reason, buy the product on eBay and they would ship it from Amazon and buy the product on Amazon. So you order on eBay, but you get an Amazon package. And they had websites that arbitrage this, they have millions of SKUs. And they started asking me like, hey, like, can you sell me like Amazon gift cards? And I got in this gift card reselling thing where I was selling lots of different gift cards. And I was like, yeah, I think I can. Like Chase just came out with this Chase card and it gives you 5% off on everything you buy on Amazon. So I'm like, if I bought $10,000 of gift cards, I'm only paying $9,500. And they're telling me they're going to pay me like $9,800 for $10,000 of gift cards. It's like $300 profit. So the challenge was I was limited to $10,000 per rolling 24 hours on Amazon. So I was like, I need more Amazon cards and I need more Amazon accounts. So I started recruiting like friends and family. And I was like, hey, like I'll do everything. I'll pay you a commission. All you have to do is every day I text you, you just go order $10,000 of Amazon gift cards. We set up email forwarding that would all forward everything to my email, set up a bot that would scrape my email, put all the codes into a CSV file. And all of a sudden I had like 40 people buying Amazon $10,000 Amazon gift cards for me each. So what was that? 400? No, the 4 million, 400. I don't know what the math is on that. 400,000 a day. Yeah. So this, I guess, was bigger than gold. I didn't really think about it that way. So I would sell sometimes like hundreds of thousands of dollars per day to this buyer in Israel.
And you're making a 2% spread.
I would make a spread on that and give a finder's, a little commission to my friends and family. And like did that for years. So like my Amazon account, like they give you like that reward summary at the end of the year.
Yeah.
And mine was $500 per day times 365 days. I don't even know what the math on that is. I'm an accountant, but I use a calculator. Yeah, it was a big
over
number.
1.5, or is that 15 mil?
I don't remember. It was a big number. And then, multiply that by sometimes 40 people. I would have loved to take that one bigger, but I just didn't have enough buyers. Like that was one where I had more supply than demand. So I could only sell what the demand was every day. And the rates would change. Sometimes, I'd only make $50 per person or something on something, but sometimes it was a couple hundred. So just similar things. Now that one, Chase ended up not liking that I was getting a massive rewards. And so they shut down my account. And when I called and asked, they just sent me a letter and said, due to unsatisfactory business relationship. And then had a reason. It said, rewards abuse. And so still today, I not in Chase's good graces. But yeah, I just saw an opportunity. I'm like, you're offering 5% back. Let's just do the max amount that you could. So there's friends I had that worked in tech and they had AWS server fees. And they convinced their companies to like let them do it. And they created an arbitrage with them.
I feel like I want to call it side hustles.
Yeah.
Like, were you doing this like as a full-time single point, like business and focus on this? Or was this always kind of hobby extracurricular activities?
Always a hobby, always extracurricular.
Okay.
There came a point where
it was a game.
It's a game for after work. There came a point for about 3 or 4 years where I was like, the game started being like, can I save all my W-2 money and live off this? And so we did that for many years. It was like, let's actually liquidate enough to cover all of our expenses in life and have the miles and points and save everything from the jobs. Wow. I had great jobs. I was CFO or CEO of many companies during that time, and it was wonderful. Gave my time and attention there.
So why hustle? You have great jobs. Like, why? You're not sleeping, or is it just like the same way someone might play video games or have a hobby like pickleball or something? Like, this was just what you would do in your spare time?
Yeah, I would say it became a means to travel. I love traveling, love doing it with my wife, doing it with my kids. And then like, I think the more authentic answer is like, I was addicted to like winning, and like, not just winning like from a competitive standpoint, but like it worked. Like, oh my gosh, this worked. Like I found something there. I wonder if I could do this more. And holy cow, it worked. Like, that's just like a dopamine hit. That's just really exciting. So yeah, there's just many different avenues that I got that. I mean, and it took me all different places. I mean, Lin-Manuel Miranda, when he wrote Hamilton, was performing in New York. Similar thing. I got caught wind of it really early, and they were doing a pre-release Amex sale for tickets in New York. But you had to have American Express Platinum card to do it. But you could get 4 tickets per card. And I was like, wait, I got a lot of cards. So I got a code for every single one of my cards. So I think I bought a couple $100,000 of Hamilton tickets and resold them on Ticketmaster and StubHub and a few other sites.
And you just got them at the base price.
Oh, I got them at the base, contract price. And then Lin-Manuel Miranda announced like mid-July is going to be my last performance. And we got a new cast coming in. And like half my tickets were for like before that. So they just like skyrocketed overnight. So then that got me interested in like other retail tickets. So yeah, Pink. I mean, there's all sorts of national touring artists or plays. Hamilton then went to Chicago. I got first dibs on all those tickets. And all my Hamilton tickets and hundreds of thousands of dollars of purchases, I only had to eat one pair. And interesting enough, it was on Valentine's Day. A Valentine's Day front row, I couldn't sell. And like I just kept lowering the price because it got closer. But yeah, I was about to fly out to go. And I was like, somebody will pick it. I'll take a loss. Literally had to eat the whole thing.
Well,
But
what are you saying to someone that hears this and saying, oh, I'm going to go do this. I'm going to go side hustle this way, credit card points, arbitrage.
yeah, you have to have passion for it. Like if the goal is because I just want more points or I want more money, like it's not going to work. You have to enjoy the process. I think it's the same idea like in business. You see some successful person in some industry, you're like, oh, I'm going to go start a roofing company today. And it's like, no, like you have to enjoy roofing and running that type of business to go be successful in roofing. I think we see this a lot in businesses, in search funds. People find industries that are really sexy and they want to just go buy a $2 million business. They say, I can run it more efficiently and better. And sometimes they can, but really they bought themselves a job and they don't even know if they have that job or not.
Yeah.
And so like this, you have to treat to some extent like a job to some extent, but like there's passion in it. Like I loved it. I loved learning about it. I loved refining it. I loved thinking about it. I loved scaling it. I loved finding the patterns in it. I loved talking to my community members about it and figuring out different ways and getting different perspectives of it. So yeah, it was a fun season of my life.
Do you still do any of it?
Very, very little. So 2019, when Dave and I partnered and created Nimble, there was a time like I had a deal that ended and like I got sad. I was like, man, like every time I get a really good deal, like it seems to just not be something that could last forever. And like I put time and effort into some of these deals like you would your career or starting a business, but like they never were fully sustainable. A Broadway show doesn't last forever, or sometimes Chase doesn't like that you're buying $10,000 of gift cards every day. So there's just this time where like I had a lot of reflection around like personal fulfillment, and I just spoke to my wife one day and I said, what if I take all this energy and everything I'm currently doing, all the gifts and talents like I feel like I have, and I go and put that into a business? And not a business I got hired into, as a minority shareholder or a smaller stake, but like my business. And yeah, that was July of 2019. And I walked away from like all my online communities, walked away from all my current deals I was currently doing. And I said, I'm all in this.
And I'm going to go figure out the loopholes, the hacks,
I said,
quickest way, the quickest path.
Yeah. And like Nimble was opportunistic. I'd been a CFO for many companies. I knew the need. It was natural. I already had tons of friends calling me or people in my network wanting like some level of service. They didn't know what they wanted, but they knew I had the answers for them.
Yeah.
So the sales were already there. The demand was there. And I just said, what if we do the same idea of like, how do we take this need and we scale it? But let's just not scale it to like, one by one. Let's 100x this. Let's 1000x it. And so, yeah, that's where we like initially, and we're intentioning right off the way. It's like, okay, what do we call this? We're not PricewaterhouseCoopers after a bunch of partners. We're Nimble, and we said we got to create this consistent experience. Let's build a brand. Let's build an experience. Let's define what that looks like. Let's build a vision. And let's go scale that as fast as possible, but not lose sight of, that client experience that's important.
Yeah. Elon Musk gives this example, and I'll probably butcher it. But when people ask, like, how do you do what you do? Essentially, like, how do you have time for the Boring Company and SpaceX and Tesla and X and all the things? And he said this example of like, hey, I try and think of this 10-year plan, what it could look like, and then I go and try and do it in 6 months.
Yeah,
it's
I
like
love that.
The way that, like, I don't know how often I've ever done it, but the way your mind has to work and start thinking for it to be a possibility that you could do those 10-year goals in 6 months. And I feel like that you have a bit of that in the way that your brain works. I think that there's a ton of wealth to be created when you can solve problems for others. Well, you were playing a form of chess, and all these stories. Hey, how can I do this? How can I get one step ahead of them? How can I take advantage of this offer that they're having and stay within the lines? And how can I scale it quickly? And how can I get more efficient? And it's almost as if it was preparing you to go and build this highly functioning business as a whole. And it's such a unique quality. I just don't know. I know plenty of problem solvers, but you keep saying 100x, 1000x, and mine almost struggles to compute that. I mean, 1,000 times, 1000x. It's like, well, yeah, if it works in a small scale, there's a chance to do it at a really large scale, and you just need to keep de-risking and what's your risk tolerance and all of the above. But it's amazing how it's translated, and I don't want to keep using that term on like a real business, but man, there's something special that can happen when someone flips that switch into a single point focus into building like one business and one opportunity, and one that some weird switch can't get turned off on you. Like this one, oh, sorry, we don't allow that anymore.
Yeah.
Your Virgin Galactic story.
Oh yeah.
Because, like you did what you
That's a great
what
one.
they said they could
Should we
do.
share that one?
I mean, that's one of my favorites, but it just got taken away from you.
Yeah.
Like, and you did your part and someone took it away. It's like, well, yeah, I'm going to go put that same effort into something that someone can't just say, oh, we don't offer that anymore, or you're no longer allowed to participate with us here. Like, you go and build something with lasting power. But
yeah, I was definitely at the mercy of banks or mileage or reward programs at what they would allow
or fine print at some point.
Print, yeah. But in my own business, like, I control the narrative. I control everything. When we talk about 100x, 1000x, to me, it's about possibilities. Like, when I think about my own personal fulfillment, I don't have milestones, like, per se. Like, I'll be happy when this happened. Like, there has to be joy in that process, because the purpose is much bigger than oneself or around a certain milestone. But when we think about it as impossibilities, like, even 10x feels small. Like, because 10x, you can grow 10x sometimes, do things a little bit differently, a little bit more organically. But if we think about it bigger, like, the whole system has to change. The way we approach this, the way we think about it, the way we're going to go about it. Like, we have to be able to think, how can we scale this? Now, doing it in a service organization, like, that's where I've been humbled. It's harder than anticipated. It's not as turnkey as some of my other, side hustles have been. But, like, the principles are still the same. So yeah, I love that. We can talk about Virgin Galactic, because that is a fun story.
Well, the same part of, like, I want people to hear it from the lens of creativity and what's possible.
Yeah.
Because a lot of what I believe someone's next step in creation could be if they could just slow down, get intentional, get creative, and not have whatever filters they've got on that show some sort of limiting ability.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're having this experience of points and you want to see where it takes you.
Yeah, like I'd done all these cool flights, gone all these cool places, and I think I was just looking for like the next cool redemption. And so I kind of scoured the internet of like, what's the coolest thing you can do on points, and led me to the UK airline Virgin, Richard Branson's airline. And in their thing, you could actually, instead of just earning points for flights, they had like some experiences. And so one of those experiences was for 10 million Virgin points, you could book an inaugural flight with Richard Branson to space. And like, space has always been intriguing to me. Like I have 4 boys, I have a daughter as well, but my boys and I, we used to love talking about space. We were so interested about it. We had books we'd look at, pictures. And I'd always told them, I was like, one day, like, I hope we can all go to space together. Like, that would be really fun, get astronaut wings. So I see this deal of like 10 million points. Like, going to space isn't something you can just buy. But I'm like, here it was, you could. And I could buy it for free, essentially. And so, yeah, I was able to, through some transfer programs and some other things, earn 10 million Virgin points. Got them all transferred over. So I finally called Virgin up to like they have an experience earned. Yeah. So I called Virgin up and I say, hey, like I see on your website, like where do I go to book the experiences that you guys have listed? They're like, oh, we can just do that over the phone. What are you looking at? I was like, well, you got one here for Virgin Galactic inaugural flight. You guys know when that's going to take off. Like, I got the points. What do you need from me? And I got that kind of like, never had anyone redeem for that one before, and I was like, well, yeah.
This is like the fighter jet monopoly thing.
Yeah, but it was before that. Like, before that Netflix, I know that happened in the 1990s, but like, I never heard that story.
Yeah, you didn't realize that someone actually tried to go and win the Harriet jet.
So, yeah, I call and I kind of get the runaround a little bit. The lady didn't really know what was going on. So about 3 days go by. She finally hung up and said, we'll have to call you back, figure out how to redeem that. I think it was a lawyer that called me back and basically was like, hey, we got your request. Just want to let you know we can't honor it because your 10 million points, you didn't earn flying Virgin Airlines. You got them just being transferred in. And I was like, is that a thing? And they're like, yeah, it says like specifically in this, like this is how it works for this.
It is now.
So like, yeah, I went back in line, like, and I'm a pretty detailed person. I read all the small print and like, there it was, like, I forgot the words they used, like flying Virgin Airlines or something. And I didn't like fight it. I was like, I don't remember that there, but I was like, it was already kind of iffy. Like my wife was going to allow me to go on an inaugural space flight. But I was like, let's just see if I can get it, So I didn't push it hard, but I was like, what am I going to do with 10 million Virgin points? Like, I don't fly to London that much. So I asked on the phone, I was like, okay, so if I can't redeem 10 million for this, like, what can I redeem them for? And he's like, anything else on the website. I'm like, well, what's the next highest point thing? He's like, you can stay at Necker Island for a week. I was like, what's Necker Island? And they're like, oh, it's Sir Richard Branson's island. I just thought it was like a novelty thing, like he owns an island. Little did I know, like, he's lived there for 40 years, like bought it, and it's like his sanctuary and has 140 staff, and he has his house on it, and it's like a little tiny island in British Virgin Islands. So I was like, okay, that sounds cool. It's for 2 people, 1.2 million miles. I was like, oh, that's like a tenth the cost of going to space. Like, this is easy. So my wife and I go, and like we get there, and like we just like walk up. They take us in this golf cart up to this Balinese like hut, and they're like, okay, this is the great room. This is where we'll have dinner and breakfast, different places, and your room's just down the hall on the left. I'm like, okay, like down the hall on the left. I'm like, so do I get a key card? what goes? And they're like, oh, there's no keys. Like, you're staying at Richard Branson's house. Like, just got a bedroom down there on the left. And I was like, oh, I guess we're like really here. So we go in, we have a nice room, good view, all that. We go out to dinner and like Richard and his wife come out, like join us. It's like me and my wife, Richard and his wife, and they're just like serving us food at the table. I'm like, hey, what's up, RB? Like, he's like, hey, when did you guys get here? Like, I'm just like, is this what it's going to be like the whole week? He's like, yeah, I don't think anybody else is coming for like 5 days. So we just like had the island with them. So I like thought it was kind of unique. Like, oh, maybe he came for the first night because I was there. Nope. First thing next morning, like breakfast together. We're talking and started talking about tennis, started talking about kite surfing, 2 things that I love. And so he's like, well, I got 2 tennis pros and I got 3 kite surfing pros here on the island that give lessons and I hit with them every day. He's like, why don't you go hit with the pro and see if you're ready for me? And why don't you go kiting and see if you're good enough and we'll go kite around the island later this afternoon. And so I go do a lesson with the pro and they're like, oh yeah, you're good enough, and kite. And so then the rest of the 6 days, every morning at 6 a.m., we played a tennis match together against each other. Sometimes we played doubles together against the pros, or mix it up, do some round robins. Went kiting together, ate our meals together, and we just like hit it off, like just long hour conversations. Wimbledon was going on. We're just hanging out in our swimsuits watching Wimbledon. He's name dropping like, oh yeah, the queen's right there. Like she, I don't know, knighted him or something.
Made me a sir.
Yeah, made me a sir, and she likes me, and like just had a super fun time. The last couple days, there's some other people that showed up. Got to meet them. Actually became friends. So yeah, just had an incredible experience. You know, that turned into other things. He asked what I was doing at the time. I was CFO for a company called Owlet Baby Care, little baby sock that tracks oxygen levels and heart rate for your baby. And he had a baby die of SIDS, and he was super fascinated. And so he ended up inviting me and some of the founders back the next year, like all expenses paid, to the island. Pitched him Owlet. He didn't invest, but like loved the product, loved what we were building. So yeah, we ended up, got his email, communicated a few times, went back a few more times to the island. It's probably my favorite place. Like if anybody says like, okay, you've done all this travel, like where's your place?
Yeah.
And I'm like, Necker Island's pretty incredible. Like anything you want, like they have for you.
Yeah.
Like they just take care of you.
Yeah.
140 staff. They got pro kiters, pro tennis people. It's an animal sanctuary. They got all these endangered animals right there on the island that Richard takes care of, and all the professionals. And it's just a beautiful place. So he's really created something special. So
what'd you learn from him?
That's a good question. I probably was too immature to like really think about that. Like, what am I going to learn from you? I was really careful not to be like the guy that like became annoying, of like wanting to be like, hey, can I pitch you an idea, or can I get some money from you? Or like, I just wanted to be another human with them. And I think like, that's why we hit it off so well.
Yeah.
Is like, I asked him some stories and he was happy to share some other stories about different things. But like, I just treated him like a normal guy, and he just treated me like a normal guy. And we rarely talked about like our business ventures or what we were doing. And some people may think like that's a failed missed opportunity. But for me, like what I value most is connection.
Yeah.
And I wasn't there to get anything. And so I think like what I learned from him was like, he valued that same connection. He just wanted to connect as well. And we found things we enjoyed. I think there's some politics things like we avoided. We caught on really close. Like sometimes we didn't align on those things, and we just kept the conversation, and we're on the similarities and grew from there.
Yeah. In some of these side hustles, do you have any regrets?
I mean, regrets is always a hard question, James. Like, well, the past is the past, and would you do things differently? Like I think there's always things you do differently.
Yeah, one of your kids hears this and gets super intrigued, really similar personalities, and wants to go dabble in short-term hustles. What are you telling them?
Yeah, I'm like stoked for it, probably. Like, I mean, I can't argue with the things I love. And I do have kids that they love to create. They've been doing it in elementary school. And so, yeah, I don't know if I have any regrets. And I think that's probably a lot of just about my personality. I just always see the world through a lens of opportunity and learning. Would I do some things differently? Like, yeah, some things I'd probably hit harder. Especially in the early days, there was some really great things, you'd order $1 coins with credit cards with no fees and no shipping. And at the time, I was only ordering, $5,000-$10,000 at a time, and then depositing them into a bank and paying off the credit card and getting 5% cash back, type things. And I'm like, man, in that story, I had pallets being delivered to my house of coins, but I could have gone bigger, could have done more. Yeah. So I think it sounds funny, but it's realizing it was part of the journey though. I had to 2x and 5x and 10x in order to 3,300x, with American Express cards. So without that, I wouldn't have been able to get there. But if I could have jumped, with the knowledge I have now back then, I would have went 10,000x right off the bat.
Yeah.
Go. Because I had to learn it.
Yeah.
So yeah, not being afraid of just going at it, but do it responsibly and do it de-risk as much as you can. And I think that's how most of my career has been, is there's always a place of risk where risk holds a certain place for me. I've never felt like I've done anything risky. There's definitely an opportunity for loss, but I'm okay with that loss. And I think that was an important part of it too, is not ever do a deal where hey, if you lost, what's that going to do to your marriage? What's that going to do to your relationship with your family, your house, your kids? And that's a line I won't cross, in anything, whether it's ethics or a deal. I won't be alone. I'm going to have my wife and I'm going to have my kids. And if I have them, man, I'm really blessed and happy.
Yeah. There's just an amazing spirit around it. And I was just curious that just to know, do you miss it? Would you go back and kind of narrow in on a business like Nimble earlier? If you could have, because of the compounding effect of what Nimble could have, it's essentially compounding, right? You would have started Nimble 6 years prior to when you did, rather than creating the bots and talking to people overseas and creating the New York relationships and, those kind of things. Is there anything you would lend to someone that has their hands in a bunch of different pots right now?
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, you take the richest guy in the world like Elon Musk, and he's got his hands in so many businesses. And so I don't know if I would say there's one right way. I think it's going to come down to personal alignment and fulfillment for an individual. Sometimes it aligns for them to have 10 irons in the fire at once. And I think that's really fun and it's exciting at times. For me, I had the wrong 10 irons in the fire. And I needed someone to corral me a little bit. And I corralled myself and said, hey, I need to just go see what's possible with one iron in the fire. Because I felt for me personally, 10 was fun. I was getting the dopamine high. No question about that. But was I actually getting the fulfillment high? Was I getting a legacy? Was I building equitable value? And And so, yeah, some people can go build that equitable value like an Elon Musk or others, not to put him on the spot there, but in having lots of different things. And I think that's wonderful. But for me, like, there's so much power in what I'll call like the law of concentration, of putting everything into one and seeing like a valuation of a business I built and what that's become. And that is 10x what I was doing in side hustles.
Yeah.
And so like for me, there is power in that. So could I have done it earlier? Yeah, like that would probably been better financially. But like I learned a lot of lessons, like even confidence and going about and doing these things, credibility and just knowledge that, you can't really take for granted. And we'd all love to take the 80-year-old self and put him back in the 20, but then we wouldn't be able to learn. That's part of the journey and the joy of the fun.
Yeah.
Of the process.
Where I think a lot of real joy can come from is on the journey.
Yeah.
The journey is the dream.
It is a dream. And the learning's fun. The like not knowing what's going to happen was like super exciting. And you already knew it was going to work. It would just be like kind of boring.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I love it still. Like, and I spend a lot of time in partnership discussions, and I think about big partnerships now. Like, how do I go reach in our business thousands or tens of thousands of people? Not just like hey, who's someone that can just refer one or two people? Like, I love those people too, and it's wonderful. But again, like, how do we scale this? Like, one big partnership can make a company 100x bigger than just a lot of little small referral partners.
Yeah.
But yeah, seeing the joy in all of it. I love what I've realized in starting my business is how much I love of relationships. Like, I'm a person that loves relationships. I love being authentic and genuine with another individual, bringing that about, and with like no ends to the mean. It's just about the relationship. And what's funny is through that relationship, usually more comes about from it. Maybe not even financially, but just fulfillment than I could have ever asked for.
What are you creating now?
Right now, I'm creating a relationship with my kids as a sports dad. It's been about a 3-year journey for me of what does that relationship look like. So,
why? If you got all this momentum with a thriving company,
I do that too.
Yeah.
It's just like a different phase of life for me. Yeah, there's just, I think some of the greatest work we do is in the work within the walls of our own home. There's a quote on that. And when I look at my life, if I'm dying and I'm on my deathbed, there's a legacy that sounds great. Like, hey, this is what you're able to build. This is what you were do. But more than anything, like, I want a relationship with the spouse, my kids, my grandkids, eventually one day, great grandkids, all there. Like, tell me about the life lessons I taught them, things that I inspired them to do. And I'm not saying like spending time with my kids and building a business you have to do one or the other. I believe you can do both together. And if you're aligned in the same purpose, they're both growing. And building the business is inspiring your kids. It is doing a lot. But making sure like I'm teaching those right lessons. And so that's really important part of me, what I'm intending to build. I've spent a lot of time the last 5 years interviewing people that have had exits, talking to them about what's going on in their life, just getting a frame of mind of what's happening. Because that's usually really hard those first couple of years after an exit. And what's interesting is there's a vast majority of them that their whole purpose in life is about relationships with their wife and their kids. But what's interesting, it isn't about always creating those relationships with their wife and kids. Sometimes it's about repairing the relationship with their spouse and their children. And some of those children are already married and they're gone. Sometimes the spouse, they're in therapy now and they're doing different things trying to save it. And so, yeah, like that's a line I won't cross. Like, I'm going to enjoy building a business and building it at scale and building what's there. But like my relationship with my kids and my spouse is everything. And so when it's like, what am I doing now? Like, that's always going to be my number one answer, is like creating a better relationship there.
Yeah. Do you have a hack on how to efficiently do both? How can you create like a real presence around being with your kids in this phase of life while giving the company that you've built the attention it needs to hit its goals?
Yeah. So I'm not one that subscribes to a daily work-life balance, or even probably a weekly or monthly. I'm probably more of an annual work-life balance guy.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's a hack or not. I think it really comes into alignment again. I mean, the ability to be present can't be overstated. You know, when you're with your children, when you're with your spouse, like, be there.
Yeah.
Let them experience you being present with them. As someone that has a hard time slowing down, feels like hell almost to me. Like that's a challenge. But like, to give my presence to those people that are most important, even in a relationship, like, it's super fulfilling. I'm one, like, I'm addicted to work when I'm working. I'm addicted to my family when I'm with family. And so, yeah, just being present and knowing where I am in those moments. Trying to think if there's other hacks. My wife would say have intentional time together every day has a big impact. So we, have an intention to have dinner together every single day, and that includes some spiritual time together as well. And we like to do more of that. But that daily interaction is wonderful. Annually, then, like, I love family vacations.
Yeah.
Your kids go to school, they pick up certain words or phrases or just garbage things sometimes, but like, you go and spend time in a hotel room, like a little tiny, like, hotel room, I mean, 2 rooms together conjoined, like, for 10 days straight. And you really get to know your kids and get to know what's going on in life. And like, you get to like have a place to curate and cultivate what's important.
Yeah.
And by the end of that, like, they're living the way that we intend to have them live, and not from a forceful way, but it's powerful. So yeah, I don't know if I have a hack for you, except I just found, like, being present when I'm with them, creating time with them, goes a long ways.
Yeah. I hope people hear your story and they hear a message of, how is that even possible? And then they see a really down-to-earth, sharp guy that's just determined and plays the game of life and plays the game of work. And it's one of my favorite things about this is, selfishly, is, you don't live in Arizona. We hope to expand our audience further and further out. But to anyone that had never heard of you, be able to relate in a way that shows them what's possible, from, having a real shot at going into space, or ending up with a billionaire at their private island, or flying the most luxurious way you could travel, and using it to go create memories with the people that matter most to you. And as well, like, going and co-creating something with a partner, both at home and in business, and doing it in a way that aligns in some way that you can be proud of, like the look in the mirror, aspect of it. You have this way of being that feels pure or integral or peculiar. And you would think that someone that's finding these hacks or hustles, it wouldn't feel that way, or it could toe a line.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for my kids to listen to this. Like, look at what was like, look what he created, but more so look who he was being to create it. And I think that's what I hope to be the theme of this podcast in general, is like, look who people are being that's allowing them to create what they want to create. And it doesn't mean that they got to go take over the world. It doesn't mean, but watch what can happen when you have the optimism to believe that it'll work out. When you develop a tolerance to be able to go do life large. And like, spend some time on getting intentional and creative around different opportunities and watch how you can magnify them. And yeah, I hope that you can continue to come be like a repeat guest on this, because I know that Nimble has more stories to come, like just more hacks to expound and have impact and influence. And I appreciate it. I mean, just, you're just willing to create. I mean, it's,
What are we at?
1:30 a.m.
It's gone by fast.
on a weekday. And I just appreciate that when I'm around you, it feels like anything's possible. And you make it really lighthearted, and yeah, I hope people can take that sense of, you know, anything's possible, and go apply it to go do whatever's important for them. So thank you for being willing to, one, make today happen with some of the changes that we had, and, you know, being adaptable and even being willing to come back to make it work. We appreciate your time as much as anything. Before we go, where can people find you?
Yeah, the easiest way is probably LinkedIn. I'm not a big social media guy, so Shane Rowley, co-founder and president of Nimble, would be the easiest way. Connect with me there, send me a message. I usually look at that daily.
Where can people learn more about Nimble services?
Yeah, that'd be www.trustnimble.com, Nimbl, so no E. You learn about our services there. Yeah, got a lot of fun things happening. So hopefully excited to come back podcast and talk about the next phase of where Nimble is and where we're going. Yeah, and probably just as well my own personal journey. Like, I'm in this discovery of identifying, finding, and cultivating my calling in life. And it's super rewarding and super fun to be in that journey. And I'm still in it. You know, taking everything that I've been involved in my life and where I'm currently am. Like, there's this weight of saying, like, what am I to do with it? What am I to do with my time? What does that look like? And so really looking at what is that calling in life, and how do I, again, 100x it, 1,000x it, 10,000x it.
Do you have any homework you could give to somebody as we're signing off, for somebody that's looking to find their path? They've got this energy, they've got this ambition, they've got a million ideas, the Shark Tank syndrome of like, man, should I do this? Should I do that? Or should I really put my focus? Do you have any homework that you can lend to someone as we sign off?
I would look for places where you feel alive. The way I would define alive is like examples, like probably look at my face when I tell these stories. Like, there's aliveness, there's passion, there's excitement. And like, if you can't find it in your own self, ask someone close to you. So where do you experience me as like alive? Like, just like all in, like facial expression, body, everything. If you find those places, like, go find a way to make that more a part of your daily life, whether that's in your career or starting a business or what you're doing in your business or whatever it is. Like life's meant to be enjoyed, and like, it makes me sad. Like when people have lived in a career for 10, 20, 30, 40 years and they weren't happy. Like, go find what you are alive in. And like, I guarantee you, you'll be successful. If you're alive in it and you want to go create money doing it, like, I don't know if there's something I mean, I'd love to hear a challenge of like, I can't make money doing this, because I guarantee there's an option. So that would be my homework is, go find out what your superpower is, like what makes you feel alive, and go do that and be intentional. It's going to be scary. It's going to be risky. Sometimes that may be a career change, but like I've seen it. I've had conversations with a brother-in-law who was an engineer for 15 years. Man, every time he sold, he felt alive. And he finally made the step like 2 years ago. Became a sales guy, started at the bottom of the totem pole, moved all the way up to the top sales guy like in 2 years. Like, just amazing.
Yeah.
Because he did what he felt being alive felt like.
Yeah, I love that aspect. Go, and if you're not sure, go ask someone else where they experience you.
Yeah, they see
being
it.
alive. Yeah. Thanks, brother. I appreciate you.
Love you, brother. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you.